There we go. We here.
What up?
Boom. LGTV. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Fucking excellent. I got to listen to some dope new music that dropped today.
Yeah, man. The timing was good, man. The timing is good. Today, just happened to have a video coming out, so same day as the interview, which is blessed.
Yeah, people are gonna think I'm lining this shit up because last week I had Young Stitch and Junk on the show and they were dropping their project.
Yeah,
Yo,
the
people are gonna
timing is good, man. It means you're doing the right thing because everything's falling into place.
For sure, for sure. Definitely, definitely I was like, oh shit, new single, and I checked it out, and I was like, dope, like the video as well. I always appreciate like a dope song with a dope video.
Yo, it's my boy Patrick Younger. We've been working together for at least I think 3 or 4 years now, and a lot of people don't really know who he is, but he's a really dope director, photographer. He used to be a rapper. He's from Guelph originally, but now he lives in Toronto. And yeah, we just connected, through Instagram. I just saw his pictures, and I was like, man, you got some skills, man. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, I didn't mean to get into this this early, but you just mentioned Guelph. I remember like the first time I seen you was the King of Dot Squad tour. and
Yeah,
uh and you're battling Toxic and like you thought he was from Guelph because he won in Guelph the night before,
yeah,
and like you were like, oh, you're like you said something like you're a loser from Guelph, and
yeah,
uh and I was like, oh no, because like I knew everybody in the crowd knew he was from Hamilton, like,
yeah. I
and I
found
was like,
that out.
oh,
I found that out the hard way, and Toxic is, he was one of the dopest rappers there that night. I
for
think he
sure,
went on to battle Sharon or
yeah,
something that night. But yeah,
yeah,
Toxic is definitely dope. I still talk to him once in a while. I don't know if he's still like doing music or what, but yeah,
yeah,
I send him videos once in a while, and he's still like, yo, good to hear from you.
for sure, for sure, yeah. But I remember I was like, oh no, like 'cause I knew the punchline was coming, right? I was like, oh shit, like, but
That's
yeah,
that's the nature of battle rap, like
for
a
sure,
little flip up like that, and that'll cost you because it doesn't make sense. So it's like,
for sure.
if it doesn't hit, if it's like, and everybody's like, wow, you're misinformed, then there goes your punchline, right?
Yeah, yeah, but definitely from there, I'm pretty sure. I've seen a lot of people perform. I'm pretty sure I've seen you perform. I watched the videos and I'm like, yo, this dude is sick. This dude is dope. I definitely appreciate somebody that stays just keep on doing their craft and they're dope. And I was going through videos. And I was like, yo, like, he has a dope video with Sean Price.
Thank you,
Uh,
man. That's one of my favorite collaborations of all time. I think probably my favorite of all time
for
out of
sure.
every artist I work with, just because I got to tour with them before in Ontario, and then I got to go down to New York and hang out with them and shoot the video and stuff. So, and we always got along. He was such a smart guy and such a funny guy to hang out with. Like, it was just pure jokes, but also like he'd make you think about things. And so yeah, he was a really intelligent dude, but he also like he had jokes for days. So it was a pleasure to hang out with. And when I hit him up about the track, I was surprised he hit me back. I guess the timing was just good and it worked out. So yeah, that's rest in peace, Sean Price, man. That's
Definitely,
one of my favorite moments in hip hop since I started doing it.
definitely. Rest in peace to the legend. Like, man, super dope MC. You as well. You're a super dope MC. I pictured like when I was listening to your stuff, I was like, you change up your stuff so much, like almost. to the beat. I'm to get like on the technical side, some rappers will write and then find a beat for it. I imagine with you, it's like you're finding the beat first and you're writing. That's what I got from listening to you.
That's a perfect observation, you know, and a lot of people they don't get that about me. They try to like pigeonhole me and they think like, oh, he's a golden era rapper, he's an old school rapper, whatever, like boom bap, whatever. And I'm like, you're exactly right. You know, the beat is what guides me. You know, when I hear the beat, that's whatever I do the beat is it's telling me, you know, do this, do that. So if it's like like the new video that came out, the flow is more like modern, like it's to people like, oh, that's cool. Fortunato's rapping like more like the new cats, and I'm like, well, if they send me like a beat like that, then I will drop a double time verse or like um something faster. But if a lot of the producers that hit me up, they're sending me older style beats because they think that's my bread and butter. But like I'll just sit down with a beat and just let it play over and over and over again, and
Yeah,
eventually like a flow will just start to emerge, and then I'll just kind of start with a few words and maybe just one phrase and just build it from there and then try and make a song out of it.
like me, before I started the interviews, I was rapping, and a lot of times I do the same thing. I listen to the beat and kind of have it tell me something. But sometimes I'd have like an idea for a song, and I wouldn't necessarily try and force it. But like when I heard a certain beat, I'd be like, oh shit, the idea that I had, it goes with this, you
Yeah.
know. So but like most times it was like, okay, what is this beat telling me? But the odd time I'd have an idea and be like, oh shit, this actually goes with this.
For sure, man. It's everybody has a different approach when it comes to making music, man. But for me, it's the beat first. I just do everything. I try to stay. Some rappers they got what they do, and they do it. That's it. Like Guru, like for instance, right? Guru
Yeah,
never stops that flow, that cadence. It's the same, all the time. Whereas I'm just like I'm more I try to I try to challenge myself and do different things, and I'm not a fast rapper, I'm not a slow rapper, I'm not a I'm just whatever that beat brings out of me, I'm going to try to cater to that beat as much as possible.
for sure, for sure. So how's your approach for finding beats?
Well, you know what? The beat, they usually find me. I've been really lucky throughout, since I started rapping. I've just been like, I've always had producers coming to me, and I've never really had to go searching. I know a lot of people, like, they got raps, but they're looking for beats. They're always looking for beats. I've been blessed, like, from the first producer that I worked with, Gam Shooter, back in the Angerville days. um, he just would bless us with beat after beat. And I was like, we didn't know anybody really like who was doing production and stuff. So I was like, where are we gonna get beats? I don't know. So we just were rapping on we used to have like the old J Arms instrumental mixtapes and stuff, and we were just like rapping on, just dubs and stuff like that. And we were just like, that's how a lot of our mixtapes came about. But then Gam Shooter started lacing us with the original beats, and then after that, it was Royce Burr, and Royce Burr, he started giving us beats, and then after that, we just had a kind of a whole bunch of different producers from all over, mostly Canadians, though. I think a lot of the talent that I've worked with like throughout the years has almost always been Canadian producers, and I've been really like blessed in that respect.
Yeah,
Because yeah, like it's just been here. I just gotta turn on the volume a bit. Yeah, like it's been really dope to have like Canadian producers that are like holding us down. From like St. Catharines, from the prairies, from British Columbia, and especially like out in the Maritimes. That's how I met Sean One. and we made a lot of great bangers together. And it's been coming full circle. Like I just put out like last year I put out another album with Royce Birth, and it took us 10 years from the first album we did with him to the second one. So it's like, I cycle through producers, and I like to do albums with just one producer as well. Like the Blue Collar
Yeah,
EP was all Sean One. Blood, Sweat, and Tears 2 is all Royce Birth. I did Two Bad Dudes with DJ IV, and that was all this guy named Giuliano from New Brunswick. So I like to work with one producer and just like build a whole album. If they got the beats for it, then we'll do that. But yeah, like I said, I've just been blessed with a lot of dope producers, a lot of beat makers hitting me up and wanted to work, and so I've never had to go searching for it.
dope, dope. I'm gonna take it back to like in like my history, and back like I remember like when I first started rapping, like mixtapes were like a lot of rappers rapping over other people's beats. And I remember like it was like the Winamp era where you can like Napster era where you can download like the instrumentals. And I remember like downloading like a mix CD of instrumentals. It was all like the all the beats that are out at the time. And and I remember like freestyling to them, and the Rockwaller beat came on, and like to freestyle over that, it was like you had to kind of like really kind of get into your bag. Like was there a beat back in the day where you're like, yo, if I can freestyle to this good, like I'm killing it. Was there a beat for you that was like that for you?
Yeah,
Like
like I mean, I think like
for me,
Roll the Dice,
for me,
Roll the
it was,
Dice from MOP. That was definitely one that like I was like, man, I would love to just be able to when the beat drops and be able to do like something. But without that MOP timing, it's kind of difficult. But that was just one of those beats that's so hype that
yeah,
like if you could master that, like then you were in the zone, right? So that's one of them. And then of course, like there's a couple beats that I would be like, oh, I'd love to freestyle well on this beat, but it's just not a really freestylable beat. Like it sounds great on a track, and then but it doesn't like the way it loops or whatever. It's
yeah,
just hard to like come up with the. So just like there's so many though, but like unfortunately the beats coming out right now, they're not really like good for freestyling. I find like I can't really like elaborate on these beats the way and that's why I feel like ciphers in general, they don't really happen as much anymore, and it's sad
yeah,
because it's a lost art. I feel like it brought artists together, and we were able to like connect with like without having to be like formally working together doing tracks and stuff. We could just kind of like get in a circle and just like go back and forth and talk shit, whatever. And so yeah, I feel as soon as the beats started to change uh, away from that, like it's the ciphers started to die out, and yeah, and the freestyling has died out too. So it
yeah,
used to be a big part of the culture for me, outside of shows, rapping with other MCs, meeting other MCs, like, and then like having certain guys that would just dominate ciphers, like I remember when Adam Bomb and Scandalous and guys from Empire would come into the cipher, and they would just run the cipher. Like
yeah,
you'd be like,
yeah,
oh damn, these guys are killing it. But yeah, it's not like sad because I know everything changes, and that's just not where it's at right now. But I do miss freestyle. I miss the spontaneous creativity that comes with it. And yeah, I wish we could get back to doing that some more because
oh for
we had
sure.
a lot of fun.
For sure, I like to hear like more tracks. Like back in the day, there was like John like the song John Blaze with like Big Pun, Nas, Jadakiss, Raekwon, Fat Joe, and then there was like Band from TV, and there was
Yeah,
like Flavor in Your Ear, and there was like these songs that had like so many dope MCs and now like nowadays you only hear those like songs like nearly as often like when you hear like 4 3 2 1 like the Cool J like with everybody, right? Like you don't hear those songs anymore. Like I think that would be a dope thing to bring back.
Yeah, I mean, it thinks the features and the collabo tracks have taken on a different like, it's a different vibe. You don't see like multiple. I feel like a couple years ago, you were still seeing like with Kanye, and he would have like Pusha T and like Meek Mill jump on it, and then like so there was like several different MCs bringing their own styles, and the beat was still like something that you could just like vibe
Yeah,
to and think up something on the spot. But yeah, I see less and less of that. I still listen to like, all the music that's popular right now, and some of it is I mean, a lot of it is really dope, but
for
yeah,
sure.
the big posse cuts are not popping like they used to be. Like you said, like bands from TV and
Yeah,
4321, like where you
yeah.
just get artists from different camps and all coming in with their own styles and just tearing a beat, and everybody tearing the beat in their own, in their own unique way.
I was actually watching a interview with Fat Joe. He was talking about Big Pun. And he was like, "Yo, like Pun was like, yo, he wanted to like, he's like, yo, Joe, go get the best MCs, go get the best MCs on this track, and I'm gonna eat them all."
Yeah,
You know,
he would do.
you feel that even making a song is like, yo, like let's make this a dope song, but you feel like yo, I have to have the best verse on there, like going into it, like writing it. You're like, yo, I'm trying to have like I'm trying to go extra, like like
Yeah, I get I did a song with my homie Swan, and he had another dude come on there from Real Wolf, and I was like, yo, did this guy change his verse? And he's like, yeah, he came back, he re-recorded it, and I was just like, oh, okay, because I was like, I heard the original track, and that wasn't how it went, so I was like, that guy obviously felt like he needed to bring it, and
yeah,
then I was kind of after that. I'm like, well, track's already done, like been released and stuff, and I was kind of like, I still think mine is better, but the fact is everybody's always trying to like outdo each other, especially when you're being featured and stuff. And I know me and Swan go way back. I know his team and stuff. So like when he asked me like, "Yo, I'm putting out this album, this and that," I'm like, I want to represent, and I definitely feel like every time, like sometimes I get to hear the other artists that are on it, and then I can kind of be like, okay, this is where the
yeah,
bar is. And then other times, people add it. But that was a funny situation where, Buddy went and redid it. And I'm sure, I mean, I don't know if he did it because he heard his verse and he thought like, oh, maybe it doesn't sound right now that everybody else is on it,
yeah,
or that, whatever. And I even heard, like, I was listening to it. I'm like, yo, he almost took like one of my words and like something that I said and then kind of flipped it on me, and I was like, maybe I'm just reading too much into this because I know stuff like that happens. It's like the
yeah,
old LL Cool J Cannabis shit, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
it wasn't a diss. It was just like, it's just like he heard what I said, and then he kind of said like, I don't know, it was something like, I said something like uppercut send you flying or something, and then he's like, in his bar it was something like, oh, block your uppercut and slap you out or something. I was like, okay, what are the chances of us both talking about uppercuts? I mean, it could happen, but
Yeah,
yeah, I just think it's interesting, and moments like that are what hip hop's all about. It's like it's definitely always been a pressure cooker, and it's always been about being the dopest. And I seen like just moments ago, I saw Lord Lust put out a Snack the Ripper diss track. I mean, I seen I think like Snack's getting ready to start. Dissing up Mad Child again. That I guess that beef is not over yet. So, it's good to see that people are still pursuing that side of hip hop, outside of the battle realm, like still doing diss tracks and still
for
like
sure.
sending shots on verses at other artists that, just to keep it competitive.
For sure, for sure. I remember, I won't say the name of the artist, but I did a song with this artist, and I got him on one of my songs, and I gave him the whole thing. Like my verses are done, I had the hook on it and everything, and it was just like the empty verse on the second part. And I felt like this artist came in and he got the better. get the better version of the song. But then like it was like 6 months later or something like that. He wanted to get me on one of his songs, and I got to hear his shit beforehand, and I was like, okay, I'm going in. Like,
Absolutely.
like he got me on this one. Like on the first song, I didn't re-record. I just left it the way it is. I'm like, he got me. That's what it is. I like my shit beforehand. I'm not gonna change it now, you know. But like, but when I got to do the song on his song, I was like, yeah, I'm going in. You know?
Get him. That's what it's all
Yeah,
about.
for sure, for sure. Um, yeah. So, you feel like like you're better at uh making the songs or performing the songs?
Uh, that's a good question. Hmm. I I'd say performing for me is easier than writing a song because I don't know, it just comes more naturally. Once the song is made, and then I run it through my head and I get it memorized, and then I feel like yeah I have a lot of fun doing it. It's it's easy for me to bring my energy up and then like and go out there and yeah. But writing a song is definitely more tedious. It takes more time, a lot of concentration. Sometimes you gotta walk away from it and then come back, and sometimes the hook doesn't really match the verses, or you gotta rewrite one of the verses or whatever, or you gotta go back to parts of the verse, and you're just like, okay, well, that kind of I lost track here, or I kind of like you start to trail off in a different direction. You're like, okay, you want to keep the track here, and halfway through the verse, you start talking about something else, maybe go back to correct that. So yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into that. But once the track's done, like I always say, my process is I write, record, rehearse, and then perform, and then repeat the whole process over again. So performing is great because it's like a release, you get it, you put all this work into it, and you get it, finally you record it, you're doing all these takes, and then it sounds rough, and then you get mixed, and then you get it mastered, and it sounds dope, and then you put it out, and then people are like, oh yeah, I like that song, and this and that. You get your feedback, or they don't like the song, whatever, and then you go out and you perform it live, and then you see like, oh, do people like it live? Maybe they like it only when they were listening to it on their phone or whatever, and now that now that it's in the live realm, like maybe it doesn't translate as well. But yeah, once you get to that point, there's pretty much nothing left to do except for like don't screw it up, right? Like you go out there and try not to screw up the words or whatever, so it's like like and if you do whatever, you kind of like you just smooth it over and be like, oh yeah, nothing happened there, we good, right? And so like yeah, like I'm just like, but I find that performing is definitely a lot easier for me because it's just like it's fun and it's a great release, and then you get your blood going, and you get and you see the people out there, and then yeah. And I feel like with it's something that I've done a lot of. I kind of burned myself out. I did way too much performing. I kind of went deaf for a bit, and started losing my hearing, and so the fact that I've been able to take a break from doing all that stuff over the last year it's my body has been thanking me for it, and so. But so it does. I mean, that's another side of it. Performing does take a physical toll. And you're out there, you're around all these people. Like you're out late. You're in the bar, and stuff like that. And so it's tough. It throws you off. You're not in your schedule. You're not your routine. And so like there's all that late nights. And then trying to find a good place to eat. Everything's closed, and then you're fucking hungry, and like. So there's all that goes into it too. But I mean, like performing is great, but yeah, it's easier than making a song. Making a song's tough, man.
Did you learn like big thing for MCs is like breath control and like projection? Like did you learn that early, or did it take a while, or?
I've always been good with breath control and projection. I mean I grew up in a very loud house, You know, my mom was always yelling. She's just always fucking yelling all the time. So I naturally got, you know, it was just loud. So I was always having to be loud. My mom would be like, she was hard of hearing a little bit too. So I'd always be yelling. It's like, Mom, you know, and so I was like, basically just go on the microphone and do that. And the breath,
Yeah,
it came easy for me too. Like I felt like my biggest challenge was my throat and not getting my throat too dry when I was rapping. So
sure.
usually, you know, I'd go up there and I'd have a beer. There's a lot of, you know, performances where you'd see me with a beer in my hand. People would be like, "Oh man, this guy's fucking drinking on stage, like he's not taking it serious and stuff like that." But really, the only thing that would like loosen up my throat and keep it,
You drink.
yeah, I'd have a beer. I'd do a track, sip a beer, do another track, sip a beer. And I tried water, and water just didn't really have the same effect. You know, my throat would still be dry, and then end up losing my voice and shit. So yeah, for me that was the biggest challenge, is just keeping my throat from getting too scratchy and then losing my voice. But as far as projecting and breathing, my breathing was great. It was better 10 years ago, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
When I first started, you know, really doing shows and stuff like that, my breathing was awesome. And now, you know, as you get older, it becomes more. It's a little bit trickier. You gotta plan out your breaths, and you don't want to miss one. That's for sure.
for sure.
And then when you're moving around and stuff like that too, like
Yeah,
it makes it even more challenging. And as you get older, you know, moving around, keeping the movement and still keeping your breath, like, you know, it's just
sure.
something you got to be conscious of all the time, and like be like,
Yeah,
you know, hey man, you're not a kid anymore, you know, like, you know, your
sure.
body has limitations. So take that into consideration. Make sure you give yourself time to breathe, and make sure if you feel like you're going to overheat, it's better to like just take a second, like stop your movement a bit, and you know,
Yeah,
keep yourself nice and even. Don't go too high, don't go too low. Just try and keep yourself even through the whole thing. That's for me. That's the number one thing when doing it is performances.
for sure. For sure. I remember projection. I was hosting a show, and the rapper came on. I introduced him. Gave him the same mic I was talking through, and his whole set, like hardly anybody could hear him. And like we're over at the mic thing, and we're turning it up, and we're trying to get him like so people can hear him. And we had turned it up the whole time. So then, like when he handed the mic over, and like I went to go say the next thing, like I said it because the thing was turned up so loud. It went so loud in the place. It was like as soon as I said hey, it was like super loud in the place. Like because we were turning it up because we couldn't hear him. But
Yeah,
like me, like as soon as I got on the mic, it was like boom, you know.
yeah.
So like projection is like definitely a good thing. Like I find like 15-minute sets. If your breath control isn't really that good, you can get away with a 15-minute set. But like a half-hour set, your breath control has to be on point because you're not getting through those last couple of songs like on a half-hour set if your breath control isn't. You should talk like this.
Yeah, no, you'll get winded. You'll run out of steam, you know, and that's, you know, oxygen deprivation, like trying to, you know, like trying to run without breathing, or like, you know, trying to swim without taking your breaths, you're gonna sink. So like, you know, it's that's the thing, man. Like just I always tell everybody, just pace themselves, realize, you know, you want to peak at the right points, and you don't want to run out of steam. So yeah, just and you know, it's funny that what you said about the mics, like that's always a problem. You know, it's always you're always gonna have some rappers that are a little bit quieter than other rappers. You know,
Yeah.
like we had a show in Fredericton with Mobb Deep, rest in peace, Prodigy, and they needed their mics a little higher than you know than everybody else.
Okay.
They're not, that's the kind of rappers they are, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Havoc doesn't, you know, he doesn't want he needs, you know, he doesn't want his mic turned low, he wants it up high because he's not a loud rapper. He just kind of talks when he's rapping, you know. And
Yeah.
then you got other rappers that are like almost screaming up there, you know, and like so it's for the engineers and the guys that are working on the boards and trying to that's it must drive them crazy because it's not like doing a rock show or something where you do your mic check, everybody's good, check the instruments and stuff. Like you got like some of those rap shows, you got like 17 rappers. Some are loud, some are quiet, like some are holding the mic too close, some are holding the mic too far, like yeah, it's just a matter of the DJ's back there like, Jesus, what's going on? Like I'm trying to make this sound good for everybody. And it's like, yeah, it's tough.
I remember one sound engineer. He was setting up for the show, and he made sure he got everybody to do sound check because he made like a little tape, put a piece of tape on his shit, and he wrote down the names, like who was where, because he was like, yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's different levels, so like he made everybody do sound check. Like some engineers, like some sound engineers come in there, and I'll get one person to do sound check, and then like okay, that's it, we're good.
Yeah, and I guess it just depends how seriously they take their jobs, and depending on what venue you go to, sometimes the guy they got working there is real thorough, and then sometimes they just don't care, and it affects the show, but I guess that's the difference. It's the same as any profession, right? You're gonna have guys that are really good at their jobs, and you're gonna have guys who just kind of like just mail it in and be like, yeah, I tried my best.
For sure. Like if the sound isn't right when you get on, do you just like perform through it, or do you say, hey, like let's say right beforehand?
Yeah, no, I tell them right away. I mean, I right on stage, I'll be like, yeah, turn my mic, turn it down or turn it up, whatever. I'm always good with communicating and like, I mean, I'm not going to stop the show for it. I'll be like, I'll be like, let that beat run, and I'll just be like, I'll just stop for a second, and I'll be like, yo, can you turn it up a bit? Or the beat's too loud. Bring that beat up, And some of that's, that's also like, for me, in the past, sometimes the beats that I'd have, some of them would be lower, some of them would be higher. So it wasn't really their fault. It was just the fact that, and that's when I was started to be like, okay, like certain producers, I don't rap on their beats live, because it sounds good on a track, but then I bring that and I put it in my set, and the energy just, and I'm like, nah, man. I went to Saskatoon, and I was like, I had a bunch of the beats that I knew were like fire, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to try and throw a new beat in there from a new album, and it did, like, man, it was flat, and I was like, damn. I was like, all right, I was like, next beat, and I'll do that too. Like if I feel like it's not working for whatever reason, I'm like, yo, just forward next track, like we'll just skip that. And it always sucks when you have to do that because
Right.
the fans are kind of left there kind of uncertain, like, well, what's going on now? Like, is he screwing up? Like, what's going on? And it's like, you got to bring that energy back. But I think it's better to just bail on a track if it's not working than to try and like struggle through it and then just like, it's torture for everyone, right? So that's basically how I approach situations like that.
Like the actual day of a show, like you have like a routine. Like you're like, okay, I want to chill beforehand. I want to kind of get in the zone. Like, and you have like a routine, like do you in Hamilton, Molly Burns, we go over to his house. And you have mirrors set up.
Yeah.
You have the mic set up, and you have the beats, and we play them loud, and we perform. And we would see we see ourselves through the mirrors, and we would do like a couple like run throughs of the set, and we would kind of like get it down. Do you have like a routine you go through?
It's I go to sound check and then I go get something to eat, and then I'll go to the show and like socialize, set up merch, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't rehearse the day of the show. I don't like to do that. I feel like if I haven't got it the day of the show, then another rehearsal is not going to do, it's not going to do anything. So I try to get that, like, you know, get everything perfected before the day of the show. Try and keep things as simple as possible. You know, I don't like to, I like to know what I'm going to wear. I like to know, you know, I got travel and everything set up. So I know where I'm going to stay, know how I'm going to get there. Everything's nice and simple. I don't take, like, I know some people like to take a nap before they go on stage and stuff. I don't like to do that because I feel like I'll be too groggy and stuff like that. So I don't do naps. I go to sound check, I get a bite to eat, I go home, chill, or go to the hotel, whatever, chill, hang out, just relax, and then we're like, okay. Then I'll start getting a little anxious. I'm like, all right, let's head down there. Let's head down there. And everybody's like, no, man, it's too early. It's too early, Fortunato. Just fucking chill. Like, we're gonna go there soon. Don't worry. And I'm like, all right, all right. And then I'll be like, okay, you know, start getting a little antsy and stuff. Let's head out there, man. I don't want to I'm sick of just sitting around here and stuff. We go down there. And yeah, and then, you know, usually I go to the bar, you know, not get too fucked up, but like, you know, get a beer or something, chill out, go say hi to people. For me, that's part of the whole experience, is like going down there and, you know, socializing and hanging out, seeing people, you know, and stuff like that. And then I like to check out a few of the opening acts too, you know, like I know a lot of artists, they don't, you know, or if you know, I'm one of the opening acts, whatever the case may be, like, you know, I like to go down there, hang out with I'd like to take in some of the other artists as well. And, you know, I like to see what everybody's bringing, see what the vibe is, see what the crowd is like and stuff like that. And then I go, you know, usually like DJ's got my stuff ready, you know, hopefully I'm not running up there with my USB last minute, like sometimes, you know, and,
Right.
but yeah, go up there, do my thing, and then jump off stage and, you know, see people like, yo, what's that? Oh, sick set. Thank you so much. Da, 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 you know, appreciate it. Appreciate you coming out, this and that. Yo, that was dope. Thank you. Tell that to other artists too, you know, spread love. Always show respect. That's, you know, that's part of the hip hop mantra, you know, like that's why I'm all in for it, you know. I'm not just there because I want to hear the sound of my own voice. Like I want to be a participant in the culture, and I want to be involved, and I want to contribute, but I also want to listen to what other people are doing, and you know, just the whole vibe and everything. So that's usually what a show is. My usual show routine is like.
You said you check out some of the opening acts. Like, how much does it suck when like me, I've definitely been in this moment where like I know like people like know I have the show, and they want to be on the show, and like I'm checking out a new artist on stage, and like they're one of the opening acts, and like everybody else has gone out for a smoke. Like I'm like one or two people watching the opening act, and you get to a point you're like, yo, this guy's whack as fuck. You know, you're the only one standing there, and you turn around and start walking away. It's like, it's such an awkward moment, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of situations like that, and it's like, you know, usually it's guys who you know, they haven't, maybe their homies weren't like 100% with them, didn't like say like, yo, bro, like, let's work on this a bit, you know?
Yeah.
I think, and that's a big problem is, it's not really a problem. People figure it out, you know, sometimes they figure it out the hard way, but, you know, taking the steps necessary to get to that point, people always want to kind of skip ahead. They want to be like, I want to be on stage performing. Once they hear me do this song, it's over. I'll be famous, you know? That's what a lot of people think. And it's like,
Sure.
There's so much that goes into getting to that point. Like I didn't start doing shows till I was 30, you know? Like I know a guy who started rapping in grade 6. When I was in grade 6, there was no way I was doing shows. No way I was doing anything like that.
Yeah.
And because I was a late bloomer, whatever, but excuse me. But yeah, like it's everybody has to go through their own process to get to where they want to be. There's no skipping forward through it. Some
For sure.
people are slower than others. You will have people that are like phenomenal right off the bat. He's a natural. This guy's insane. Like a
Yeah.
Biggie Smalls or somebody like that. Like fresh off the block, this guy drops one rap and it's like, oh my God, right? And then
Right.
you have other people. They just need more time to develop. And I feel like you know when you see situations like that, you just wish that the guy would have taken a bit more time, or his boys would have just said to him, like, look, bro, maybe you should just, before you go in front of a crowd, it's like playing in hockey. You want to know how to skate before you go play in a hockey game, right? Like, don't
Right.
just put on the equipment, jump on the ice, and like hope for the
Right.
best, right? So
Right.
yeah, so I mean, like that's the thing. But like they're either gonna go up there and have that happen to them and then just give up, or they're gonna go back to the lab and be like, okay, what did I do wrong? And so that's always cool when you see situations where a guy goes up there and he shits the bed, whatever. He's embarrassed. You hear him outside, cursing himself, just like, oh man, da da da. And it's like, but then when they come back and you're like, oh shit, like I've seen some artists just
I've seen it too.
like night and day. They take what they learn from the experience, they go back to the lab, and then they work on it, and then they come back and they're dope. And it's sometimes that's all it takes, is just a little bit more time, preparation, and an artist can improve drastically.
Yeah. I remember like back when I was performing, like me, like I performed there's when I probably performed like 7 songs, right? And like I was like, fuck, I probably like I felt like the same thing you're saying, like the guys outside, like fuck, like I fucked up and shit like that. But I looked at that experience and like I paid attention the whole time, and it was like, okay, what was the worst moments? What was the best moments? Even though it was a really bad performance, it was like what was the best moments? And like I kind of like took the things that were like the moments that were like people responded the best to, and people responded the worst to, and like I was like, okay, switching my shit from there, and and definitely like that. That's what with everything. Like I watch my own interviews and be like, okay, how I acted, how I asked the questions this way didn't really hit, and how I asked the questions this way really did hit. It's just studying your own craft. You know.
Absolutely. And I'm a perfect example of what we're talking about with an opener bombing and like I was in a group and we performed at a high school. We had a DJ who had moved, and then he went to a new school and he was like, "Man, we're doing a talent show. You guys should come down." And we sucked. We sucked so bad they were throwing stuff at us like on stage. And the two other guys I was rapping with, they were like still rapping, but like hiding. And like one was trying to duck behind a speaker, and they were just throwing. They had these little like shock layer paper discs, like they were little
Yeah.
like fake CD papers discs, and they were just chucking them at us like these spinning things were coming flying at us. And yeah, those two guys that I rapped with never rapped again. From that point on, I think it was probably the most traumatic experience that they had had in their lives, and they were not coming back for more. They were just like, you know what, that was terrible. I don't want any more of that. But I was the opposite. I said, I mean, I didn't rap for a while, and that's why I think you should do. When you have an experience like that, it took me years before I ever went back on stage after that. But I was using that time to try and get better, and it wasn't easy. Like when I was in, and then I was in another group after that, and there was like 8 of us in the group, and I was probably like the second worst rapper out of 8 rappers in that group. And but as time went on, those guys quit, and I kept doing it, and eventually I was just the last man standing. And people now, even people now who knew me from back in the day, they're just like, they didn't really they didn't really like my style or anything back then, but then they see a video like just the one I put out today. There was a guy who knew me from like 16 years ago, and he's like, I can't believe it, man. He's like your perseverance, you're still doing it. And I'm like, you know, for me, it's been a slow climb.
Yeah.
But as long as I feel like I'm moving in that direction, I'm just going to keep doing it, right? And that's the reason why I keep doing it, you know, like. But you know, it's funny because I feel like I've been doing it for a long time, but then I talk to some of these other rappers, and I'm like, whoa, like they're showing show footage from like 1992. They're like, these guys are like, oh, remember that jam in '94? And I was like, man, I can't believe you guys been rapping this long. Like I thought I started in 2006, 2007, and
Yeah.
I thought that's a long time. But then I see some of these other dudes, and they've been doing it like almost their whole lives, you know, like. So I mean, just because you think you've been at it for a while, man. There's some real lifers out there. There's some guys who've got some real stripes. So it just goes to show, like, you know, it's a long journey. This rap shit. So, you know, this just when you think you've seen somebody, like I found out like Tory Lanez the other day. I was like, yo, Tory Lanez been around since, I don't know, like since 2002 or some shit, or
For
2000.
a long time. I heard about it a long time ago.
But the way you look, the way his career, like the optics of his career, you're just like, man, he blew up over the last 4 years or something, right? But
Yeah.
he's been like he was doing Freddie Fame shows like way
Yeah.
back in the day. So
Yeah.
it just goes to show, man.
Yeah, for sure. I actually had a friend tell me on my first show. He's like, yo, if you get through that first song perfect, yo, you'll have all the confidence in the world. You just crush the rest of the songs. So he's
Yeah.
like, just focus on that first song. Like once the crowd reacts, after you kill that first song, you're just gonna have that vibe, and you're gonna kill the rest of the set. And like for me, like remembering my lyrics, I always like if I could actually remember like the first line of the verse, I could always remember the whole verse. But sometimes like the hook will be playing, like I have like the hook playing on like, and I've been thinking in my head, I'm like, oh shit, how does this verse start? And like I've actually like started like the second verse slot with the third verse. Have you ever done stuff like that?
Yeah. Absolutely. There's been some songs that were they were just every time, like certain songs, every time I'd be switching the second with the third. And I'm like, why does that keep happening? You know, I was like, well, they kind of start in a similar way, and then your brain gets tricked into thinking like I'm on the third verse now. It's like, no, you didn't do the second one yet. And
Yeah, but like, yeah, like you're still rapping the third verse, but you're remembering like, okay,
oh shit,
when the third verse slot comes on, rap
yeah,
the second verse, right?
yeah. Yeah, and you're like, oh shit, what do I do now? And it's like, oh fuck, I guess I better do the third verse now. I already did the second. I better do the second verse last instead of third verse because I already did that. Or do I just cut the song short? Like whatever, right? You just kind of just figure it out on the fly. But yeah, it's it's a lot. You're asking your brain to do a lot in a short period of time, and there's pressure and everything. And yeah, It's easy enough to make mistakes like that. I've had like first verse come in, and I'm just bomb right off the bat. I was doing a festival in Winnipeg, and my first verse, I had all these dudes from Halifax who had traveled there, and they're like, "Oh man, can't wait to see your set and everything." And one of the guys backstage was like, "Try and keep it clean," and I'm like, "Whoa!" Right before I go on stage, you're telling me that because there's all these kids in the park and I'm rapping. I'm like, nobody told me this had to be clean. I get out there and I see all these kids sitting on the grass and stuff, and I'm like, so obviously I censored myself, like I took out some swear words, but by doing that, I kind of started screwing up a little bit because I'm trying to change things at the last minute. But I managed to pull it off. It was still a good set, but it started off real bumpy. Like I almost bombed, and it's a good thing that in those situations, just don't panic, right? Just like,
Right.
just don't panic, right? It's that's what I say. Like most of these folks, they're not familiar with what you're doing, so confidence is a big thing. Just keep smiling, keep rapping, whatever. Just keep the energy high and do what you got to do to get to the point where things start running smoothly.
For sure, for sure. So, you definitely work with some dope people, but like, who is somebody like you like to work with now?
Well, I'm working with a guy named Decay from out in Newfoundland. He's a really dope rapper. He's a lot younger than me, but yet he still has that like old school kind of like 90s style hip hop aesthetic.
Yeah.
So Decay is. Did you ask who I'm working with or who I want to work with? I didn't hear you.
Who you want to work with?
Who I want to work with. Um, well, like I was thinking like I'd like to work mostly with Canadian artists just because I like to build with people from the same country, because working with the states is cool, but it's hard to get respect down there, and a lot of artists down there they want money, I'm not really trying to do that kind of collaboration with COVID and everything that's going on, like I'm trying to just stay based in Canada. So yeah, like as far as artists in Canada, man, like I'd like to work with Junk, like I saw him on the show last week, and we're
He's
both
dope.
Italian.
Yeah.
I got respect for him. He said nice things about my music before.
Uh,
And
yeah.
we actually did a show together when he was with Northwest Division for Sean Price in Vancouver, and that was the first time I met him. Was at that show. There's
Yeah.
actually a picture of us, and I was like, I sent him the picture, and I'm like, bro, I didn't even know, like, I don't even remember like us hanging out, like, because it was crazy that night. But yeah, that's when we met. So Junk definitely. Stitch, I worked with Stitch back when we did Angerville thing, but it'd be nice to do something on a solo tip with Stitch. There's a guy named Shani22 from out in Halifax. Actually wrote an article about him in Hip Hop Canada because I've been doing writing for the Maritimes out there. And yeah, he's a dope rapper from out there, and he's got a really cool style, really cool vibe. And so yeah, he'd be a dope artist to work with. Trying to think, but I have a lot of artists that I'm working with right now that we have collaborations coming out, and one is my homegirl Lavender. She's from Prince Edward Island, and she's female MC, really dope. We got an album coming out together. My buddy Ev Thompson out in Saskatoon. I'm working on an EP with him. Like I mentioned, Decay from out in Newfoundland. So yeah, we're just covering all the bases, like just working with as much Canadian talent as possible. Like that's why I feel like the Canadian scene, the way we can kind of become stronger is to all the artists working together, build the scene up, instead of like, it's nice to have American artists come up here and be like, yo, we had the Locks come through, or we had like, Smith and Wesson. Like I've worked with Smith and Wesson too, but it's nice to have the Duck Down crew roll through, or whatever, whoever it might be. But at the same time, I'm all about like fostering the connection between Canadian artists and interprovincially too. Like I live in Toronto. And surprisingly, like I'm not really working with any Toronto MCs right now. I'm working with guys from all different parts of the country that are like, you wouldn't expect them to, well, they're like, oh, PEI, they got rappers in PEI. And it's like, yeah, they got, I saw my boy Ali Cat. He's a DJ from out there. Like some of my favorite shows have been in PEI and, New Brunswick and places like that. And artists I've met from there. So, I'm just trying to spread out as much as possible. And, when it comes to doing shows, like touring, whenever touring comes back, it's it's cool because you got like friends everywhere, and so you got to be like, like, hey man, we got an album coming out. You can do some shows over here in Toronto and Ontario, and I can come out to Saskatchewan and do some shows out there, and it'd be dope.
You're saying like you haven't done much collabos with Toronto artists. One artist that's out there right now that's a very good friend of mine is Maloney. Uh, you know him?
Yeah,
Maloney.
I've done a lot of interviews with Maloney. I've never worked with him as an artist. I've always just done Breaking Records interviews, and
Yeah.
I linked him up with Onyx, to get an interview with them when they were at the Opera House, and
So
just But I've known Maloney forever, but we've never rapped together. We've like maybe like freestyle and stuff, but
I mean, we definitely need that to happen.
yeah, man, I'm down. Maloney's a great guy, and that's another thing that really like is important to me with the people that I work with. I always try to choose people that have good character. I work with people. I work with people that I like. And that's really important to me. Like not just like who like it's not really like just favoritism or whatever. It's literally like if we get along, if we're friends, like me, like that guy Decay I told you about from Newfoundland, right? We met on tour, and he was just a fun guy to be around. We got along great. We talk on the phone all the time, and we're like, we're buddies. So it comes naturally to collaborate with people like that. Maloney, he's a real stand-up guy. He's cool as fuck. So I'm like, of course I'll work with him. But some of these guys, like straight up, they're dickheads, And
For sure.
I'm like, no, I don't care how dope this guy is. Like honestly, he's got a bad attitude. I don't like the way he treats people. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna work with him. And that's how it goes. Like if that's the impression that somebody gives me, that I'm just like, you know what? For me, it's to do music together. It's a very personal thing, and I try to share that with people that I have respect for and that who I think are like good people.
For sure, for sure. Like for me, like I've had both sides of this where I'm like, I met a dope MC. I went up and started talking to him, and he was a complete asshole. And then I've had situations where I'm like, I met a dope MC. I went up and I started talking to him. And he was like a super cool guy. Like who are like I don't want I don't know who the assholes were, but like who were like yeah, somebody you became more of a fan of them after meeting them because they're dope. Who was something like that for you?
Well, I really like Fred Rose Star is one of my favorite people,
Okay.
and sometimes you meet your idols, and they turn out to they disappoint you, whatever. But Fred Rose Star is always he's always like been supportive. He's always been very kind to me through everything, and so that's one of the guys that I looked up to him. I listened to Onyx, in high school, and when I got to tour with them and stuff, it was like a dream come true. Then I got to know them on a personal level, and Fredro has just always been, he's been my bro. Like he's just been a really he's taught me a lot about the business. He taught me a lot about professionalism and how to handle certain situations, but he's been a friend more than anything. So, he's definitely high up on my list of people that I've met. That I think are. And once I met them, I had even more respect for them, not just as an artist, but also as a person.
For sure.
And I'd say Ev Thompson is another guy, from out in Saskatoon. He's a really nice guy. He let me crash at his place. I met his family and everything like that. Like he opened
Oh,
his doors to me and everything.
yeah.
And he's his family's great. I love the guy, and Sean One, he's my producer from New Brunswick. He produced the Don't Drink the Kool-Aid with Sean Price. He's a
dope.
great guy. Another guy, very, very generous, very, very kind, very thoughtful, you know. And yeah, like just so I mean that's one thing I've met, you know, I've met a couple assholes. I mean, that's just life. You're not going to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
through life
for
without
sure.
meeting them, but the majority of people that I've met through music have been really good people, you know, and I feel like, you know, the ones that aren't, they get forgotten pretty quickly, but the ones that are good, I stick with them. You know, I make sure that we stay connected and that you know, I can hold, you know, like let's keep this friendship going. Let's keep this music going for as long as we can. And so yeah, I'd say yeah. There's really too many to mention. I'm probably forgetting a few right now, but
Sure.
there's some great people in the rap game, you know. Definitely.
Dope, dope. Yeah, I got my next interview coming up soon.
Yes, sir.
Um, but I want to say like yo, I appreciate you. You're a dope MC. You've been around for time. You got great stories. You got great history in this shit. And I want you to keep going, keep dope, and keep doing dope shit.
Thanks, Eddie. And yo, it's good to see you doing the interviews again, man. I was like, oh, Eddie G's back, you know, because I remember you from back in the day, and I was
Yeah.
just like, yo, it's good to see you doing the thing again, man. Like I know you took a break for a while there, so but yeah, same ways, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing the interviews, man. You do a good job. It's, you know, it's been a pleasure talking to you tonight, man.
Oh, dope, dope, dope. And definitely, you want to come back on the show? You got new shit you want to talk about? Holler.
I will, man.
All right,
All right,
all right.
peace.
Peace.